Osaka winning the women's singles title at the Australian Open. Men's singles matches tomorrow. The finals between Novak Djokovic and Rafael Nadal. On the PGA Tour, it's Justin Rose, the leader by 3 shots, entering the weekend at the Farmers Insurance Open. Tiger Woods, 11 shots back at 4 under par. At the Ticket Update Desk, I'm Jeff Lesson. For more, 971theticket.com.
The following is a paid program. The views expressed on this program are not necessarily those of Entercom Communications, its sponsors, or affiliates.
Alrighty, welcome to the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show, brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. I'm your host, Harvey Fried. Alongside of me, Harry Glanz.
Morning, Harv. How you doing today?
Fantastic, Harry. We're definitely in that frigid air. We'll talk about that.
But like we said last week, pitchers and catchers report in February. So
before you know it, this will all be over with. Well, it's going to heat up here in the studio. We bring in none other than Becky Alley from Capital Mortgage. Hey, Beck.
Hey, everybody.
I love that. Always.
Shout out to anyone that knows that song. You're really cool.
Becky, always a lot of energy and a lot of fun to work with. She brings in Michelle Sayward from eXp Realty, who also is fantastic. Hey, Michelle.
Hey, how are you?
Snaps
Great.
for Michelle. Yay.
Michelle, I mean, just last night alone, it's what separates the top 10% of the real estate agents, let's say, versus everybody else, is what you were doing last night, communicating with me. Subjects you wanted to talk about and mortgages and real estate, things that were actually real that were affecting you last week.
Yeah.
And as we're growing forward in 2019. So you got a lot to say and share with us.
Well, thank you for having me back. It was so much fun last time. And I feel
like it was yesterday you were here, actually. It goes by so fast.
It does go by fast, and a lot has changed.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, prepared, in advance. I mean, I guess that's the difference between being a professional and being an amateur.
I guess that's how you have to roll, because,
right.
Michelle, we want to talk about you. You've been in the real estate business a long time, and last year we talked about, as a matter of fact, Becky, for the last 3 years, Michelle told us she did 185 transactions a year for the last 3 years. So if you break it down, that's one almost every other day, isn't it?
Yes. So if you put that in real people language, that is rock star status.
Thank
because it is, hard enough to be when you're in a sales position, but to get to a point in your career where you can maintain a certain level of production, that means you're bringing it in, you're pushing it out, and you're maintaining that status quo, which is, it's really hard to do because, when you come in the business, you're kind of starting with your initial, your internal, like your influence and that kind of thing. So when you get to that point where you're just like constantly just knocking it out, it's really impressive.
Well, thank you. I mean, it didn't happen overnight.
Right.
This is pushing 18 years in the making.
Right.
So, it's something that you build up to. And yeah, I mean, a lot's changed since I was here last. I mean, I opened my own branch office in June.
Right.
And that has been growing and doing really well.
Mm-hmm.
And we're really just focused on now, well, I am, in giving back. I'm really enjoying that. Becky, you and I are the same when it comes to that. Like,
Absolutely.
We're big into education and training and building people up, to get them to help them to achieve their goals. So we've got a lot of new agents coming on in the office, and
tell everybody where
exciting.
you are. Where are you located?
Yeah.
Refresh everybody's memory and tell everybody the area that you're in and where you're located, your new office, and just what area that you specialize in.
That's a good idea, Harry. I can do that.
Thank you.
Michelle Sayward, eXp Realty. My office is in Trenton. I mean, residential sales, like I said, we're now looking to attract new agents into the office. So, someone's looking to make it a move.
That's something I for sure want to focus on right now. So, Michelle, she's been in the business, as we've pointed out, a very long time.
Yeah.
She didn't get to the level that she's at, but I don't know if this is the right word, but you kind of took a step out of the shadows a little bit, right? Not like you've always been a force, but now you're kind of establishing yourself as a presence, as your own brand, right? You've been a brand within a brand, but now you're here making your brand within your brand. And you've been putting out videos, I've noticed on Facebook, that I think are really awesome. For people that don't know her personality and her energy, it's kind of giving everyone like the inside perspective. And she put out this video where it was really candid, Johnny on the spot kind of thing. And she sat down 2 new agents. And one had a little bit of knowledge of real estate because he had a appraiser background. Another one, nothing different. It was like, I don't know. I don't know what he did before.
He was in health and safety.
Okay, yeah. So nothing to do with real estate. And she said, she asked some questions. What is it like? What is this? Do you feel like frustrated? And what has the training been like? And they are very like the mentorship and training and they don't feel frustrated. It was almost like that breath of fresh air. And I kind of wanted to say, like, you're really recruiting right now. And I want to know, like, for that person that, you know, you're sitting, maybe you're a stay-at-home mom and you want to get into real estate, or you thought about getting into real estate, but you're scared, you're afraid that you're going to be sitting there on your own. And I just want you to be able to reach out to those people. Like, what do you say to them right now?
Yeah. Well, really, I mean, there's education and training that is offered through the company. And then in addition to that, we're taking one-on-one classes and we're investing that time in those people to help them grow and help them achieve their goals. It's funny you're mentioning that video. Literally, the guy in that video, Jeff, he was ticked that I walked in on him. I didn't even tell him I was going to walk in with a camera and do that little video.
Some people, don't like that stuff.
I didn't watch the whole thing, but I did catch a little of it.
It was 5 minutes. It was just a little blip.
Cool.
It was just funny. But I wanted to get a real live perspective, like what we're doing here, people's opinions, what's happening, you know, tell me the truth about what the day in, day out is like.
Yeah, Michelle, I got out of it that you got a nice team, that you're growing a team.
Yeah.
And we use that team concept at our office. It works.
Yeah.
Team concepts work for most businesses. When you got a group of people that are reliable, professionals, other people who are just starting off, people that they can give a quick call to make sure that they're doing the right things.
Yeah.
I think you're just growing it in the right direction. So
Thank you.
We're excited for you also. Hopefully we'll do a lot of business with you here in 2019.
So right now, Harvey, we talk about it every day. What's the business climate out there like? And you're downriver, you're in Trenton, and you know, doing 185 transactions every year for the last 3 years.
That is not an easy number to pull out every year. I'm telling you.
I'd like to know, what is your barometer on the year 2019? How do you feel? You've been doing this for 18 years. It took you 18 years to be an overnight success, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
So everybody thinks it's easy. Everybody wants to get in the business du jour, real estate, mortgages, whatever it is. It's just so easy. What's your outlook for 2019?
I think we're actually going to be looking at a pretty stable situation. Becky and I were touching on this a little bit before the show. I mean, yes, we have a government shutdown going on right now, which we'll get into. We'll talk about that here in a minute. But I think overall, it might not be as, you know, I don't know, what was
robust.
Yeah. Thank you for that word. Yeah, Harry. Robust is what we've seen in the years gone by. The appreciation rates won't be as high, but a much more stable, but still consumer confidence, I think, still exists. I mean, jobs are still great, and I think that it's going to be just another pretty stable year in 2019.
Yeah, no doubt. Jobless claims are down all across the country, but especially here in Southeast Michigan, lots of opportunities.
There's a statistic out right now.
Hit us with it.
The stat is there are 7 million jobs available in the United States right now. 7 million postings, 7 million jobs available that people are trying to fill. And you talk about bringing new people on. You know what they say is the most important thing? There's a thing out there, when you bring somebody on, it's the onboarding process of bringing somebody on.
Right.
It just takes a while for somebody to get acclimated.
Right.
And if you're doing training and you have the knowledge, and we believe in the team concept like you do, we've been employing that for the last 27 years. I would tell you that it takes all kinds of experienced individuals to make that new person successful right out of the gate.
So like mortgages and real estate, it can be an individual sport. Right?
Sure.
You're in there, you're you versus you, but it doesn't have to be. You can come under the fact that you can come over under a giant wing like Michelle Sayward at EXP now and just get that knowledge. Just think about that. Someone's going to tell you how they achieved the level of success. Who does that? Not very many people.
Not everyone wants to share.
Don't walk that plank by yourself.
Yes,
if you have a team of support, you don't have to go out there by yourself.
Well, I was actually listening to, and I missed my turn on the freeway this morning. I was listening to a podcast on the ride in this morning, and they were talking about big. Yeah, I'm hooked. But they were talking about how real estate agents will just sort of like hold on to the trade secrets and not share them, and that's not the platform that I like to operate under. I operate under, hey, you know what? I'm going to give you the information, and you're going to decide to run how fast with that information or not. You know?
Right. We were talking about the other day. It's almost like, okay, you see, like it's New Year's resolution time, and it's everyone's in the gym, right? All the treadmills are getting crowded, right? You have all these fitness models that are like, I ate this day, and I did this many crunches, and this is how I got this look. Okay, they're literally giving you the Bible to how they achieved what worked for them.
And then you have to do it.
Right, and if you don't do it, it's useless. It's just something you can put your coffee on. And the same thing, if you're under her wing, and she's giving you all that knowledge, you can tap into it. If you're not willing to retain it, you might as well just set your coffee on, and it's a coaster.
There are no secrets. There are no secrets to being successful. There are no secrets. It's called hard work, dedication, and doing it every single day.
Right.
You got to do it every day.
And either you're going to do it or you're not.
That's right. You and I could sit here and we could tell people, hey, here's what you have to do. They're going to either do it or they're not going to do it.
Right.
All right. Hey, we take your calls all morning long here. 248-539-9797. We're going to dive into purchasing homes, refinancing homes. That's right. You want to get your house sold, too. This is the show. 248-539-9797. We'll be right back.
Hi, Harry Glantz and Dan Burke for Capital Mortgage Funding. We do loans everywhere. In Southfield, in Birmingham, in Royal Oak, in Grosse Ile, in Detroit, in Canton, in Northville. No matter where you live, we want to do your mortgage too. That's Capital Mortgage Funding, 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker.
Alrighty, welcome back to the show. Would you believe it already? January 19, 2019. It's the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show. We give you information about buying a house, selling a house, all about mortgages, real estate, refinancing. We'll get into all of it. Got Jessica Zelke and Kevin Stewart, of course, with the Stewart Team Real Estate Partners, downtown Rochester.
Second time you got it right.
I'm
the first time I heard it live on the radio in my car, which was good.
I took some time out to write this down.
That's awesome. I'm very happy.
But I want to congratulate you. John tells me yesterday that you guys are about to open your new office on Main Street in downtown Rochester.
Yes, we are.
This is cool stuff. Where are you exactly going to be over there?
So we're basically on Main and 4th, if you're familiar with downtown Rochester. What used to be Molnar's Tuxedo Shop.
Okay. Yeah.
They have gone retired sale. They've gone and retired, and the Molnars have decided to take the building and rehab it, and we're going to be their upstairs tenants. So we have a beautiful new loft that is being built out right now. It should be done theoretically by the end of February, beginning of March. We should be moving in somewhere in that range. So
congratulations.
We're going to have a really new world-class space right in Rochester.
Yeah, that's really cool.
So talk to us about what you foresee. We ended the last segment with what we foresee and what economists and realtors and other mortgage banking professionals think is going to happen in 2019. It's very tough to sit here in January of 2019 and say predict the whole year, because you never like to do that. But you can kind of get a feel, get a vibe from 2018, the way it ended going into 2019. What do you guys see?
So we started this conversation probably September or so. I think I posted my first video up saying what I thought was happening in the market. I think the market has shifted. I think it's going to be more of a flat and level market. I'm not sure there's necessarily anybody who's fully in control, because it really still depends on the price band that you're in, what specific price range you will fall into as to how hot the market is in that range. But it is definitely not the major sellers market that we have seen for the last few years. There's no way. The buyers right now, if you were to say, Kevin, right now, what is it? I'd say it's a buyer's market. I think the buyers are more in control now than they've been in a very long time. They have the opportunity to come in, negotiate. Actually, we can actually use that word right now instead of beg to take my offer.
Yes.
You can actually negotiate to get your offer down. Jessica's been able to get a lot of clients that maybe need concessions. They need some extras. Finally have been able to get them into houses. We have a client that just purchased a home. We first talked to her 4 years ago.
Yep.
Right? Yep. And she was able to purchase a home for the first time. The market.
Alrighty, welcome back to the show. 9/14, January 26, 2019.
And it's still cold.
Yeah, it's still cold. Just starting off. Frigidaire all weekend long, maybe for the next 10 days in the upper teens. That's okay. We've got the machine of the downriver area of real estate. Michelle Sayward's here.
It's
so it
cold
doesn't
outside,
matter.
but it's hot.
Hey, you guys mentioned it. The start. Of course, the government shutdown. They did sign last night, so the messy situation hopefully is getting resolved. It's going to take some time. We were just talking about it off the air. Great news with respect to transactions involving USDA loans. Again, with any transaction, communication is the main theme. That's what you got to worry about. Good communication, and those people will close. But that domino effect definitely happened, and some people were affected by it. Again, it might have been some USDA loan purchased down here, but if they didn't close, then before you knew it, it affected 3 or 4 different transactions.
Harvey, Michelle, and Becky, people are listening to the radio going, what does the shutdown have to do with mortgages and real estate?
And what is a USDA loan?
And what is a USDA loan? We're here to tell you how it can affect you if you're in the middle of a transaction that you have a USDA loan. Michelle, let's go with that.
Yeah. Okay. So what... Yeah, the government shutdown. I mean, really, this is just like a consumer confidence conversation overall, I think, is this...
Right, because, you think about it, we are, just 10 years from when everything just fell apart, right? Yeah. So when you're dealing with this extended government shutdown, it does it's going to incite that fear, like, oh my God, it's because it's very fresh. It's an open wound. Everyone's still getting back together.
People get freaked out.
Right, people do get freaked out. So as far as on a mortgage transaction, the biggest impacted loan transaction that was affected was USDA. FHA, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, even MSHA, those really aren't, you weren't seeing those hits. But USDA, they did stop onboarding these guaranteed loans. We did extend free rate extensions as well because they would not allow us we couldn't do anything. We were just stuck.
Yeah.
So in those situations, we had our policies in place as courtesies because it's not the consumer's fault. We're doing everything we can to get past that for those USDA loans.
But again, better known as a rural development loan here. I'm sorry to interrupt you here.
Let me give them the non-doctor version.
Yes.
Yeah. Just a zero down program, and it's offered in any rural area. And again, we have you can go online and punch in an address, and it'll actually tell you whether or not it fits that criteria.
Correct.
There are income limits. It's a great program, but the fact is, the underwriters for that, we underwrite them here, approve them, and then they get the stamp from a USDA underwriter down at the government, and of course, they were off.
And they were part of the shutdown. That's number one. Number two, any government agency that we had to verify documents from, if we needed a payoff letter from the IRS.
Yeah, so you have back taxes.
Yeah. So back taxes and transcripts that we would verify your tax returns through the IRS. It was a little bit of a delay, but that didn't affect us as bad as the USDA transactions. Again, as Becky mentioned, we held everybody's rate. So if you started on day one of the shutdown and then it got shut down and you're 36 days in and your rate was X, we would hold the rate on that day. Now you say, well, here, you should hold the rate. Well, a lot of companies don't.
Yeah, that's true.
A lot of companies don't.
It's really great that you're doing that, Harry. And when you just touched on it, and what we're experiencing on the real estate side of things is when you're talking about the IRS and needing transcripts. I have a client right now that needed to get an IRS payoff on their mortgage. They had a tax lien on title.
Right.
We couldn't get that IRS payoff. So that definitely impacts with the government shutdown. Another one that we were dealing with right now, short sales. We had the mortgage company in alignment, ready to go. We had the bank saying, okay, yeah, we'll take a short sale, but the bank needed that final approval because it was a government-backed mortgage. So another cause for delay. So there will be stressors, I think, more than anything, that the consumers will be facing with these delays. Overall, I don't think it's anything that we can't get past. I mean, consumer confidence, aside from the government shutdown.
So if somebody's involved in one of those transactions now because the government came to an agreement for the next minimum 3 weeks.
So now it's hurry up, get it done, get as much as you can now.
It's that everything's going to be taken in order. There are no rushes. We can't just call up and say, hey, we need ours to jump in the line in front of thousands of others.
Yeah.
So there has to be some kind of patience if you're involved in that kind of transaction.
Yeah.
Boy, Michelle, did you say short sale? It's 2019. I haven't heard that word in a while.
I know.
How did that go about? Again, here, 248-539-9797. Homes are appreciating wild. The average last year, of course, 7.6 nationally, about 5.1% appreciation here in Southeast Michigan. That's right. If you give you an idea, if you bought a house for $100,000, maybe it's worth $105,000 a year later. Well, that's the idea with home appreciation. So sort of strange to think that someone would get themselves into that short sale situation with so many people that could rent the house. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, that's the other thing, Harvey, that there's not these big departments set up to handle short sales anymore. So you're also dealing with whole departments that are missing in action that used to be there during the down economy.
Yeah, that's a good point. Really, lack of staff in those departments right now.
It's a rare occasion that you get a short sale, but if you've got someone educated, professionally, and has that experience because they've been in the business a long time to handle it, it can still be navigated and done.
For someone that doesn't know what a short sale is, kind of tap on that a little bit. Like, what is a short sale to someone that maybe doesn't, that never really heard that term?
The seller is deficient for market conditions. They're not going to be able to sell the property for market value to pay out what they owe on the balance of the mortgage. So we're asking the mortgage holder to take a discount on the payoff.
Yeah, versus take a total loss and the house go into foreclosure.
Correct. Yeah.
Foreclosures are very expensive for lenders to deal with. Of course, it's a hassle. There's lawyers' fees and stuff. And so they're basically saying to the bank, hey, look, I'm not going to be able to make this work. Let me save you some time and money. Let's get the house sold and move on. Everyone washes their hands, and then the lender, of course, has a loss.
Yeah, and that's why you want to seek out that professional help in advance. So when you see yourself in that time frame where you're like, oh my gosh, it's out of control. I'm trying to get myself out of this hole and I can't. That's why you need to seek the help of professionals in advance, like the Say a Word team, like Capital Mortgage Funding. We can guide you. You don't have to walk the plank alone. Like Harry always says, you don't have to do it alone. We're here to educate you to not repeat yesterday's mistakes, as we talked about.
Yes.
We don't want to see what happened 10 years ago all over again, which I don't think we're going to see something to that magnitude, obviously, but because we're learning, we've learned from our hard lessons, and that's the whole point, right? We don't want to just relive that again because it was scary.
So, Michelle, segue into that.
Yeah.
Well, from that conversation into property values that you're seeing in your area, where do you think property values are? How's the market conditions? What do you see going forward for the property values downriver trend specifically?
I don't think, as I said at the beginning of the show, I don't think that it's going to be this wild appreciation. I think it's going to be a bit more stable. We're starting to move out of this, hardcore seller's market, and it's becoming a bit more balanced. So I think that people that were having such ease and agents that didn't necessarily have the know-how could sell real estate in the past, 3 years or so. I think you're going to see a little bit more need for a skill set and a sharper set of tools in the toolbox in 2019. Right. It's not going to be as easy to get a property sold, and days on market may increase.
Good. We're going to talk about that. Maybe that shift from the seller's market to the buyer's market. We're starting to hear more and more of it. Hey, let's take a call and get things rolling here. 248-539-9797. Always want to hear from you. And Mark calling in from Sterling Heights. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Mark.
Morning, everybody. How
What's
are you?
up?
My question is very simple. The MR program that provides the money for your down payment, you have to take a class, I believe.
Yes.
That program.
Great program.
How long do you anticipate the funds being available in that program? I recently was looking to buying, but I had not been in my job long enough to verify my overtime. I had to be at my job a year, and I wasn't. So unfortunately, I had to sign another lease. But once my lease is up, I'm going to be looking to buy. So I'm just wondering, how long will the funds be available?
Well, that's a great question. Yeah, there's two programs out right now. So let me identify the two different programs. The Step Forward program is giving families $15,000, but those have selected zip codes. So that one's the best one out there now if one of those zip codes matches where you're looking to buy a house. So that's $15,000.
Actually, it's in Shelby. I'm sorry to cut you off. Shelby's actually where the purchase would be.
Yeah, like a 48316. Yeah, 48316. That's actually, so that program, $7,500, that's the ongoing program through the state of Michigan. So unless something drastically changes, that program should be around for several more years unless they make significant changes. However, the Step Forward program is the special program that's out. There's about $4 to $6 million left in that state fund. So that one will probably be gone in another few weeks.
Which was cool, though. They originally started with, was it 15,000? Or 15
20
million.
$20 million first.
20 million, sorry, I had 15 on my mind. The 20 million, and because it was so successful, they did add another 5 million to that fund, because the purpose of that is to, fund and get people in houses in these less desirable, or they like more delinquent, zip codes. I don't know if, that's kind of what it was. It's kind of like a neighborhood specific program to get these housing stimulated and get people going, which is
they want to turn the neighborhood, they want to fill in, they want, there are nice houses there. It's going to be supported by the subsidy from the Michigan State Housing Development Authority. I think it's a great program. It's wonderful. And when people say, well, they added another $5 million, they added another $6 million, do you know how fast that goes?
Oh, yeah.
When you talk about lending money and putting that in the market, it goes pretty quick. But MSHDA has been a great program. It's a great program for first-time home buyers, and it allows people to get in for very little money down.
Yeah, and I like what the caller actually said. It's a simple class. You could either go online and do the online situation, which costs about $75 or $95 for the online class, or go to your local communities. You can find out where those classes are. Definitely call Capital Mortgage Funding if you're looking to purchase a home. We'll talk to you all about different ways to come up with some down payment
money. And there's actually other MSHDA programs out there that people really don't know about. So MSHDA typically is going to be for your first-time home buyer. But there is a MSHDA program called the Flex, where you don't necessarily have to be that first-time home buyer. So, for example, husband and wife. The wife is just on the mortgage by herself, and technically the husband could be considered a first-time home buyer in another program outside of MSHDA. Well, let's just say he wanted to do MSHDA. All people living in the loan must qualify. So in this situation, they wouldn't technically be first-time home buyers because his wife would not be. So if you're in that kind of situation, you could qualify for the MSHDA Flex, where you don't have to be that first-time home buyer. But again, it's very specific. MSHDA, let me stress this, it's very cookie cutter. You either fit in the box or you don't.
There are income limitations. That's right.
So that's why you want to give us a call. We'll figure it out, and we'll make sure that we're setting you up for that success in advance and putting you in that right program. Because if we can take advantage of that money, let's.
And I will say that MSHDA has come a long way in the past couple of years with their streamlined process and how quick it closes.
Michelle, we are going to come back with all of that and some other down payment ideas on how to get families in. Again, people think you need a whole lot of money to purchase a house, just 3% or even less in some situations. When we come back, 248-539-9797.
Hi, Harry Glantz and Danberg for Capital Mortgage Funding. We do loans everywhere. In Southfield, in Birmingham, in Royal Oak, in Grosse Ile, in Detroit, in Canton, in Northville. No matter where you live, we want to do your mortgage too. That's Capital Mortgage Funding, 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker.
Core Mortgage Real Estate Business Show brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. Find us at 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage bank. That's where you get a great approval letter. Deal with the real professional and set yourself up for home ownership. We make it a lot of fun. Call Capital Mortgage Funding. Lots going on here. Of course, we brought in Kevin Stewart and Jessica Zelke from Stewart Team Real Estate Partners in downtown Rochester. And there's a lot going on. They got a new office coming up this spring, hopefully sooner than later, be getting in there. And really
fingers crossed.
I always like getting out there. We got some friends in Rochester. We like to get out there quite a bit. It's pretty cool to be on Main Street. It's a really cool place to be.
So you guys can come hang out anytime you want.
Well, we're going to be invited to the charity preview that you guys have there, tuxedos and champagne, right?
Let's do a charity preview. That sounds good.
Why not?
Sounds like fun.
Why not? Yeah. Hey, new construction applications ended up being down, of course, in December. You mentioned it, Kev. The things did slow down. The stock market tanked a little bit. New construction closings were down 6.8% from 2017. What factors were there? You got the holidays, a volatile stock market, a little uncertainty in the economy. Yeah, that'll keep people away until the weather changes here locally. But again, across the United States, new construction's up, housing starts are up, and hopefully they're going to start building more and more of the product that our empty nesters are going to need. Because, Kev, that's just it we talk about so often, is it's the inventory issue which drove up the crazy bidding wars. What's 2019 going to be if our sellers are not willing to make that move and either downsize or move out of the state or whatever?
Yeah, we're going to need to see, as time comes, right? I think that the first quarter is going to be a lot of ability for buyers to take advantage. I think there's a lot of people who've been for sale for months on end. They're very antsy right now. They really want to get their house sold. They're willing to do what they need to do to get their house sold. I think there's a lot of advantage and potential for buyers out there. We've said probably the best individual that can take advantage of the market right now is someone who wants to move up, someone who has a home in the lower to mid price range. That price point, that price band, call it sub $350,000, is still moving very, very well. But stuff higher than that, the $450,000 to $800,000 range, is moving very, very, very slow. So those individuals who want to move up in size, location, whatever it may be, now is a really good time for them to take advantage. As we come towards the summer, I don't know what's going to happen. I think that new construction is going to continue. Hopefully it will level out a little bit. Every builder that we have that we work with a couple of them.
ticket with you is the radio.com app. Download it today and listen to us anytime, anywhere.
97.1 The Ticket.
All right, welcome back to the show, 9:30.
Yeah, that music
Mortgage,
pumps
real
me
estate
up.
business show.
Don't you wish everybody could hear what we talk about?
Oh my gosh! Actually, I think
Mortgage and real estate. You guys were talking the same stuff.
it is good stuff.
I've been on the show. This is my second time on the show,
I
and
feel
I
like
think
you've been here a lot more than that.
because we connect and we all are. Everyone in this room is passionate about real estate.
Yes.
We think about it in the shower.
I feel it in my loins.
Wow.
Let me introduce you again. Michelle Sayward, eXp Realty Downriver. Hey, let's drive into some really good stuff here. One of the things, I'm in the trenches every day, and we've had inspections going out there and a lot of communication. Inspections, I mean, they're becoming more and more valuable because our inventory is aging here in Michigan. It is across the United States. Again, we developed when we started building homes. It started obviously on the East Coast and then moved west, and now our homes here in Michigan are about 50 to 70 years old. There's quite a few, or at least a decent amount of that inventory out there. So these inspections are very vital, and they shouldn't be deal killers. They should be opportunities for sellers who are selling their house, Michelle, and I hope you agree with me, for maybe get that sewer line inspection done and fix it, because it's almost...
Does that touch a nerve, the sewer line?
Look, I didn't even say it.
They keep coming up.
That's
every
exactly
house.
what I was thinking. These sewer lines. We did not talk about this on the break, about sewer lines.
Sewer lines?
We cram in a lot of stuff on the break. We're like,
but even we got homes that were built before 1970, so there's no energy efficiency. They were built in a different era. The codes and everything involved, the homes weren't efficient. They didn't have enough insulation. Maybe there's not ridge, venting in the roofs.
Yeah.
All these things are becoming problems now for families, but they can be fixed and addressed.
Yes, definitely. I mean, highly recommend a home inspection, and not a home inspection done by your uncle's brother's friend, like a home, unless of course he's a professional builder, has experience in home inspection. He's licensed,
bonded, and insured.
Correct.
How about it has a proper certification?
Yes, definitely. Yeah, but Harvey, what you said about the drain lines, I'm seeing now with these 50, 60, 70-year-old homes more than ever right now. The main line from the house to the street, a lot of collapsing going on right now, and that's one thing that often gets overlooked on a home inspection, because they're looking at the integrity of the house. They're not necessarily looking on what's going on outside. So, to have additional people come through during your home inspection period. And you've got 5 to 10 days or whatever, 2 weeks, whatever for inspection. So bring in your plumber. Bring in, a second set of eyes. If your home inspector says, hey, we got something quirky going on here, bring in the roofer. Bring in somebody else who's in that specialized zone that is being pointed out by your home inspector.
Heating, cooling, electricians, plumbers, all out there. Get those people lined up. So if there's any question at all regarding any of those components in a home, you definitely have the professional people to give you an opinion on how to fix it.
And that's why you get with a real estate agent that is experienced like Michelle, because you as a consumer, you're not going to think, oh, I need to check these sewer lines.
Right.
Oh, I need to do this. She's going to be there to make sure, hey, we're doing this inspection. This is our shot. We got 10 days. Let's get this, all of our players in line, and let's utilize this time to see just how sound this property is, especially in the wintertime.
And another one that is massively overlooked is new construction. People think, oh, I'm getting a certificate of occupancy. It's built by a professional builder who's, very credentialed. I've seen other homes that he's built. Get a private home inspection. I have seen in new construction, it's at the hot summer, your roof, everything's drywalled, it's done, boom. Guess what? One of your knots in your boards pops in your attic rafter. And, a builder's not going to, they don't pick that up. Everyone's assuming it's all good to go. Yeah. Get a home inspection.
That's why I like home inspections. That's why we'll always say, Michelle, if you listen to the show, you've been on the show, I'm a big advocate of having people get inspections, and I don't like it when it was in vogue last summer and the 2 summers before that, to put an inspection waiver contingency in there. Not a big fan of that. I don't recommend it, and I wouldn't do it.
Well, Michelle, I also like the other tip of it. Again, if you want to join the show, 248-539-9797. Call us if you're going to be selling your house, buying a house. This one really goes out there to the sellers, because a lot of sellers obviously trying to maximize the amount of profit so that they can move on and purchase their next house. So when you go to the sellers, why not talk about these things that they could do in advance. But one of the things we threw out there was like the old Autorama, the guy who loved his 68 Camaro. He kept records. Yeah, the oil changes he had, the tire rotation. This is something I'm starting.
My dad taught me while I got all that stuff.
Yeah, you know how to do it. I'm starting to stress more and more that to sellers. And why not go ahead and log in? Of course, when the day comes, you got to sell your house. You have to put it all in the seller's disclosure. But why not be able to go? Here's my my whole folder on my house.
Yeah.
It shows pride. It shows that pride of ownership, and the next family that's coming into the house obviously knows what they're getting.
Yeah, the provenance that goes along with that sale of that house, furnace inspections, air conditioning, the roof whatever you put in a new roof, new windows, everything like that. People like to see that. That's how you're announcing that what you have done and how you've improved and maintained that property.
Yes.
And when people walk through, not only are they going to see it, but then when you show them the provenance that goes along with this, with that property, they're going to be blown away, and you're going to sell that house.
Right.
Yeah.
So, like for Michelle, like someone, like how do you coach someone? Let's see, the house has been, like you said, right now you're going to see that stabilization, right? Everyone got so spoiled there for a minute where my house, I'm going to list my house, it's going to sell in a week. It's sat here for 30 days. What's the problem? It must be my realtor. No. However, how do you, what do you say to those sellers that are thinking about putting their house on the market, or maybe they're in an expired listing? How are you going to go, you walk through the house, how do you coach them to say, hey, this is what's going to really help us sell your house? Yes, the market is changing. It's going to be a little bit 50-50 as far as buyer seller, but how are you going to coach them, and what is going to help them sell your house? Or sell their house, sorry.
My one word answer is honesty.
Yes,
it's
I like it.
being. Sometimes it's hard conversations.
Yes, I like it.
I mean, with
Be
the
the truth teller.
Yeah, in the most loving, compassionate way. Because let's face it, they've just got the crap kicked out of them because it wasn't a successful sale the first time around. So I think people deserve that. They deserve to know the truth about what it's going to take. And in every situation, case by case basis. It could be home repairs. It could be cosmetics. It could be the price. It could be, you name it. But we're going to hit it. We're going to find it. And we're going to.
And that's what shows where, you can't be afraid of the word no. You can't be afraid to tell someone no, right? And you can't be afraid to hear the word no. And sometimes, like you said, it's that honest conversation. And what do you want? Do you want to work with someone that's going to just tell you what you want to hear and it's going to sit? Right. Or do you want to hear what the truth is and it's going to sell? That's huge.
Yeah. Oh, always good stuff. 248-539-9797. We'd love to hear from you. Open lines all morning long. Also, we got a new thing for you. That's right, here on 97.1, 97136. Go ahead and ticket text us if you wish. We'll definitely try to follow up. If you put your phone number there, we'll definitely be able to follow up with you a little bit easier. But feel free to go ahead and do that. I mean, definitely, here we are 3.5 weeks into 2019. I think buying season is going to be a competitive sport. It's not going to be like it is in Denver or maybe some other places across the United States. But lo and behold, our hot areas are going to be very competitive this year. So again, getting your ducks in a row, having that professional team behind you is very, very important. Again, it's more than, and last week, I think I went on the air with it. Sure enough, referred by a real estate agent, a buyer. She said he was already pre-approved. He didn't even, this is the best part. I asked him, the first question I asked is, already pre-approved buyer. I'm saying, hey, how much money are you working with to purchase this new house? The answer was zero. It's the first time, and he had lower than 640 credit scores. It's the first time in a long time. Wow. And we're starting to hear more and more of this where they're not pre-approved in the real sense of being approved. If you haven't given your documents and sat down and really learned what the program is and how you guys are going to proceed with that purchase, you're not pre-approved. You might be pre-qualified.
Right.
And there's a lot of confusion on what those words really mean.
We take it for granted here at Capital Mortgage Funding because we do all the vetting up front. We want to start reaching out to our buyers that are potential. Even if you're thinking about buying a house, let's start the process 6 months, almost to a year in advance. Because if you're renting, let's just say I was talking about Michelle with this, right? You have someone, you're paying $800 in rent. And let's just say, I want to be in a house around 120. I want my mortgage payment with everything in $1,200 a month. And your rent is $800. Well, I don't know. You need to plan, budget, know where your money's going, because buying a house is a lot more than just paying that monthly mortgage payment. You have other expenses. So what I also recommend too is practice. How do you practice? If you're paying $800 a month in rent and you want to buy a house that your payment's going to be $1,200, take that $400, put it in a savings account.
Totally.
What are you doing for yourself? You are, number one, getting used to making that payment and that money being out of your account. And number two, you're saving for that down payment. You're getting prepared. So therefore, when someone asks Harvey asks that question, how much money do you have in your bank account? It's not going to be zero. It's going to, because you've already talked with us. We've already prepped you. You already know what you're getting into. You're comfortable. And you also need to make room for your budget. You can't look for houses first, right? And then get pre-approved, because you're falling in love with this house. It's almost like filling your plate with your eyes, right? I'm so hungry, I'm going to fill this plate with my eyes, and then you're over and you can't do anything with this food because it's just sitting there. It's the same with this house. You're overindulging with your eyes and not with your pocketbook, and you got to be smart about it.
Yeah, I love that idea, Becky. I mean, that is a simple thing that I think most people have, probably done, but you're just like bringing it home, like literally home.
So, Michelle, we have a question for you. Somebody wanted they texted and they said, do you think that the government shutdown has affected the real estate market? I can tell you that we haven't seen on a national level.
Right.
We've seen applications go up. I'm just wondering if you're feeling it locally. Do you feel that the government shutdown has affected the real estate market?
I think, just the consumer confidence factor again. I think it's just this big unknown. How long is it going to last? How is it going to impact? What are we going to see? Other than some standard slowdowns, I think right now that we just can't get around with government entities, I don't think that it's going to be like this long lasting.
Yeah, neither do I. And I think it's more if there's a slowdown in our area, it's weather related.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
It's so cold in the deep.
All right. We're up against a quick break here. 9:40. Keep it here on 97.1 The Ticket. It's the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show. We'll be right back.
Yeah.
Hi, Harry Glantz and Danberg for Capital Mortgage Funding. We do loans everywhere. In Southfield, in Birmingham, in Royal Oak, in Grosse Ile, in Detroit, in Canton, in Northville. No matter where you live, we want to do your mortgage too. That's Capital Mortgage Funding, 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker.
Back to the show. All right, if you're just joining us, 9:45. Be careful out there. No doubt the snow's still coming down. 3 to 6 inches all around southeast Michigan. Again, take your drive a little on the slower time. Get up a little earlier. Don't get behind that slower guy at the Starbucks is what happened to you guys, Kevin and Jessica. But
that driving window.
I don't know what he ordered. I'm serious. I'm sitting there thinking, I was like, what? This guy ordered a Frappuccino.
That's something crazy. Yeah, my kids call me with those orders sometimes. Like, do they even know what that is? But hey, let me introduce you guys. Stewart Team Real Estate Partners, Kevin Stewart, Jessica Zelke. You guys are always a blast to have in. Tons of knowledge. Great youthful feel.
Yeah, but fun.
Guys are fun about buying a house, but educated. You have the knowledge. Every real estate agent should be like you guys, and that's what it's all about. We talked earlier about the consultation, and we keep stressing it because we know, what the insiders know, that this is really important stuff, is that families sit down when they're thinking about home ownership and they get their ducks in a row. That way, when that house pops up in March or February, they're ready to act and they can move on that house. And as you mentioned earlier, having mortgage professionals in your team is so key, because those families might need to know that if they haven't sold their house, John, we come across this all the time. Families want to buy homes, but they're a little hesitant on selling theirs. Do they qualify with keeping their existing home? Can they at least get into the house, close on the new house, and then maybe sell the other house down the road?
Well, I think it's a decision that you have to make across all channels, and that kind of leads into what Kevin was talking about earlier with this market becoming more flat. Is it a smart thing to do? So what we can do is let you know whether you qualify, whether it's a smart idea, what the monthly payments are going to be, what you should expect if you have to hold on to both homes for 6 months, a year. Are you going to be able to make those payments and not have any issues and not dip into savings too much? We
Valenti Signature Podcast. Get it on radio.com and Apple iTunes.
97.1 The Ticket.
All right, welcome back to the show. 944. It's the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show. Brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. 1-800-LOW-RATE. That's where you can find us all week long, right here in Southfield, Michigan, in our 28th year. Of course, we've been here on the radio for 19 years, and we love to share.
Long time.
Yeah, hey now.
Wake up, Southeast Michigan. We are here.
Sharing some great information. Michelle Sayward from eXp Realty in the Downriver area. She is one of the definite queens or kings of the Downriver area because you work so hard, and it's really great to have you on there because you're in the trenches every day. That's what we do. It makes it really fun.
So, Michelle, do rates really matter to real estate agents?
They haven't.
They don't matter, do they?
Not in my 18 years of experience, no. I mean, I hear stories about, I bought a home when it was 18%, but we've never, in my lifetime, we really haven't been there. I mean, in my life, yes, I'm old enough for that, but we haven't really experienced that in like the past 20 years or so.
Right, in the last 18 years since you've been doing real estate, the rates have been in a very, very good place. You're talking about historical lows. If you take a 50-year chart, and you took it the last 18, 20 years, you're going to find it on the extreme low end. So realtors and real estate agents getting involved in rates, if you're really busy, do you really get involved in rates?
No, but what I did notice in November when the rates went up just a bit, there was a pause, or people were like, what? And then we thought, okay, is this the early winter and our rates going to go up again? And then they didn't. They actually went back down.
Yeah, they actually had the opposite.
So right now we're moving along, and things.
I will agree with you though. In November, so October,
there was a blip.
Slated, and then it there's a little second there in November where water felt like it got turned off a little bit. Yeah. But then again, at Capital Mortgage Funding with you, it's like you push through it and it's no big deal. And then it's just kind of you shake everyone up and we're like, hey, oh my gosh, gasp!
It was a recalibration and a pause.
Right. If we're sitting here in late January of 2019, now we're going to say to you, there's a bigger propensity for rates to go up in 2019 rather than go down overall. Yeah. Is that going to freak your 2019 out?
No.
I mean, right.
No.
So we just go on with business every single day, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Which I think, too, whenever you see rates go up, you start to see home prices starting to soften, which would equal what we were talking about a bit ago, having more of a balanced market, not so heavily weighted towards the seller's side of things, that the buyers are going to get a little bit more friendly pricing. Yeah, you might, pay for it.
You're going to see more of the buyers saying, you know what, I want you to fix this, instead of just being like, I don't care, just give me the house, accept my offer, and I'm not going to, I'm going to go $20,000 over. You're not going to see that so much.
No, those home inspectors are going to have to get back to work, and they're going to be signing a few more repairs on buyers' demand lists.
That's okay. Get things fixed the right way. Hey, we'll take your calls here, 248-539-9797. Little housekeeping we got to do here, talking about refinancing mortgages. Of course, rates are still, historically speaking, at all-time lows. I have many families doing debt consolidation loans. And, of course, after the holidays, with all the credit cards coming in, take a look at, again, we don't want you to use your house as a piggy bank, but we want you to be very well off.
Let your money work
your cash
for you.
Flow. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the stock market is what it is right now. We were talking about how really people are pulling out of the stock market, pulling out of their 401ks and investing more in real estate right now. I mean, anyone that has a 401k or, stocks or whatever investments, you got hit hard on that fourth quarter. I mean, it just pummeled so many people. And I have, several clients where they're trying to buy 12 investment properties by the end of the year. Yeah. Michelle and I had one where he's done with the stock market. He's, it's emotionally distraught by it. And he's looking to invest in real estate and, kind of make his mark that way.
Right. And buying a multifamily, or like some of these other folks, what you were saying there a moment ago, Harvey, was that you've built up this appreciation over the past 7-8 years. Your house was probably worth a hell of a lot more than you would imagine right now. Right. People are often shocked when I meet with them about, what's the value of my house? You mean the neighbor sold for that much? I thought it was a lot less. So you might have fantastic equity in your home where you can still buy at, we're still historically low rates. I mean, we're not, like astronomical interest rate prices. This might be a good leverage position for you to be in to finally get that second property.
Right, with the cash outs, people are they are utilizing it right now. Some of them are taking a lower rate and actually, getting in between rate just because they want to use that money and make their house work for them without having to, liquefy their assets.
You got to have a roof over your head, and again, very affordable here to live in Michigan. So definitely 248-539-9797. 539-9797. It's all great information out there. We have an aging population, that's for sure. Had a couple calls last weekend, some conversation here. Really people our age more so, talking about their parents' situation. We want to keep our elderly, our retirees, we want to keep them in their home. I'll tell you, it's tough. Of course, even my mom's getting up there in age and stuff. Now, she wants to stay in her house, and she's going to be able to stay there hopefully a long time. But these reverse mortgages are fantastic. They're not like they were 20 and 30 years ago. And for a lot of families out there that, again, you have to qualify 62 and older. But I've spoken to many families where it's their mothers or their fathers, and they're up there, 75 and higher up in age. And these are opportunities where they can stay in the house. There's no payment due. You just have to pay your taxes and insurance. Call Capital Mortgage Funding. Find out if you qualify. We've got a whole booklet that we give you. We sit down with your family and go over all the details. Most families, when I just started having the general conversation, are not aware of the program or don't understand how things work.
It's a situational program. It's not for everybody. You have to do your homework. You have to take a class. You have to do your investigation on it.
Similar to MIJDA. It's either fit or you don't.
Yeah, and it's not like it used to be. Even as recently as 10 years ago, the program has changed. We didn't offer them 10 years ago, and we just got back into it after doing our due diligence and making sure it was a right program that we could go out on the street and offer people. In the last 3 years. It will help people preserve their assets. It will help people preserve their quality of life.
That's the key.
And you can stay in the house and not have a mortgage payment. Now, what happens? You're going to say, well, not have a mortgage payment. Well, what happens? Well, it's really the lender advancing you the money so that when you do sell the house, they get paid back then. It's not like you don't pay anybody back. You just don't have a mortgage payment. Yep. Somebody's fronting you the money. That's how it works, and you don't have to make a mortgage payment. And that's why it's for it's only for certain people that want to stay in their homes and that can qualify for the program.
Yep, Harry, exactly. The collateral in the house is what's used. It frees up money. We see families often are having 24-hour care, and they're draining their own accounts to keep their parents in that house. Well, if there's equity in the house, there's a way to do it. Your folks just it's not credit qualifying, it's not income qualifying,
but it has
it's based
to be
on
the best
equity
situation
of the house
for that family.
Right.
It's not a mass-marketed program.
That's like any program, though. I mean, not every program is going to fit every person, and that's why you talk to us. We're going to identify those needs up front, so that way you know what you're getting into. Where are you going to be 5 years? Have a plan. Don't walk the plank alone. Don't be blind to it. Talk to us. We're going to educate you, and we're also not going to tell you what you want to hear either. We're going to be very factual and to the point, and that's why I'm going to treat you like I'd want someone to treat my family if I wasn't in this business and I didn't know any better. And that's why I'm so proud to be a part of this company, why I'm proud to be sitting next to Michelle, because she's the same way.
That's the best compliment you give somebody.
Yes.
You would recommend your own family to that person to take care of them.
Hey, Michelle, being a true professional out there in the industry, definitely the real estate mortgage process, there's a lot of things going on, and they're going on from really before they even start signing the purchase agreement. But from the time that purchase agreement is signed and accepted, boy, you got the inspection, there's insurance to get, there's an appraisal being done. Yeah. You got to send additional documentation in to show that you've got a deposit in, and that's cleared your account. There's a lot of things that can come up, and these can be glitches. So important if you want to talk about just to have that professional team behind you.
Listen to your mortgage lender, people, and don't rock the boat.
Yes.
If they tell you not to move money around, don't move your money around.
Snaps, that's such a good topic. But
once you start the mortgage process,
talking about this.
Once you start the mortgage process, please stop doing anything funky that you might do with your money and move it. Don't go to our van, buy the stuff. Don't wait till after we get it done for you.
Yeah.
And then that's fine if you want to do it that way, but not during the transaction.
Don't make it harder on your mortgage lender, on your real estate agent, because then she's got to, we're got to rep you, and we got to hey, well, we got to need a little bit of a time. If we don't need a lot of more extra time, let's not create a situation that we're going to have to request it.
Yes. Please don't go to the appliance store before the closing and put your appliances in storage. Just don't do that 2 weeks before closing.
Well, one of the things is a lot of families, and they come back and they say, well, Harvey, there's nothing due here. It's $5,000, but there's no payments for 24 months. The fact of the matter is, that debt counts against you, so it's a no-no. Definitely
We did have an appraisal tax. We did have an appraisal tax, and somebody called, or they texted and they said, well, what happens? They were going through a refinance transaction. They have lake access with a deeded boat slip, and the appraiser didn't use a comp that was lake access. Well, one, there might not have been a comp available. I'm going to be appraiser here. Maybe that wasn't available. What an appraiser is going to try to do, and you know me if you've been listening to the show, I'm the guy that's got to fight appraisals, all right? And we do a pretty good job of it.
I'm like, Harry, we got one.
But we also have to be objective about it. We have to take a look at the neighborhood and take a look at the comparables.
Yeah.
So to answer that question properly, I would need to take a look at that appraisal and to make sure, and then we would run it through. We would see if there are anything available. Appraisers, they've got to go ahead and take the most recent sales closest in proximity to the subject, like the subject, and then they expand their search outward from there.
Right.
Mike Tomczyk, if you're listening, check me on that. That's a fact check. I appreciate that. And appraisals are pretty sticky.
Not fake news.
Yeah, that's real. And if anybody has any appraisal questions, they can also call us at 1-800-LOW-RATE, 248-569-7283.
You can get it all out there. Second homes, jumbo loans. Call Capital Mortgage Funding. We're right in your backyard. You're going to save a ton of money. Michelle, that music says that was it.
Oh,
it's always the fastest hour because you have a lot to share with us, so it always goes by too quick.
I know.
Well, listen, if they want to get in touch with them, Michelle Sayward, eXp Realty.
Hit her up on
down
Facebook.
in Trenton.
Yep, 734-322-3302.
Oh, it's a lot of fun to have you in here. We got sports and a whole bunch of stuff coming up here. We're broadcasting live from the North American International Auto Show. Keep it here on 97.1 The Ticket. For Becky Alley, for Harry Glantz, I'm Harvey Freed. We'll see you next Saturday.